William Ruto has cancelled the procurement of 2 multi-billion shilling deals. The Kenyan government was in the process of entering with Indian firm Adani, among them the planned takeover of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport for more than 30 years. President Ruto ordered the Ministry of Transport to immediately stop the ongoing procurement process of Adani and begin the process of onboarding new partners. Ruto further directed the Ministry of Energy to cancel a signed contract between Adani and the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, KETRACO, worth 95 billion shillings to develop the country's transmission lines. NTV's David Mudhoka was in Parliament today and now reports.
It is a major blow for Indian-based firm Adani. President William Ruto, when delivering the annual State of the Nation address this afternoon, succumbed to pressure from Kenyans over the government's partnership with the firm and cancelled 2 of its major deals with the government, including the controversial takeover of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport for more than 30 years, meant to give the airport a much-needed facelift. Ruto, saying his decision had been mainly informed by new information that reached his desk, implicating the group in corrupt dealings.
I have stated in the past and now reiterate today that in the face of undisputed evidence or credible information on corruption, I will not hesitate to take decisive action. Accordingly, I now direct, in furtherance of the principles enshrined in Article 10 of the Constitution on transparency and accountability, and based on new information provided by investigative agencies and partner nations, that the procuring agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for the JKIA expansion public-private partnership transaction.
His statement was met with cheers from the members of Parliament, who went on to give the head of state a standing ovation. Prior to the cancellation, Adani will not just take over JKIA for more than 30 years after renovating the airport, but also receive 18% of the profit made by JKIA each year until the end of time. Further, Adani will be paid 95 billion shillings by the Kenyan government to develop the country's transmission lines after signing a deal with the Ministry of Energy's Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, KETRACO. When announcing that Adani was no longer welcome in Kenya, Ruto told Kenyans who for months had rejected Adani, including through the deadly protests of June, July and August, that he had heard them.
Honorable members, the work of taking our nation forward is our collective responsibility as citizens. For this reason, we value the contribution of all, whether they come in the form of support or encouragement, suggestion or proposal, criticism or protest. I believe that the most powerful component of leadership is listening and learning.
Leaders in Ruto's government welcomed the unanticipated decision and further assured Kenyans that they will not lose a shilling with the cancellation of the JKIA deal.
From a tourism point of view, I am happy, but I insist that Kenya, following the right process, must get a new airport. Our airport is 10 years behind.
The beauty with PIP is that before you sign, before the signing of the contract, I will tell you PIP can be cancelled at any time. In fact, even the time you are concluding negotiation, if another deal comes, the law is very clear and it spells out that if you get a better deal, you can stop the other one at that stage.
I think it is a major sigh of relief to the people of Kenya. It has set a new bar in terms of those who want to partner with us, so that now if there are any partners who want to come forward, they must come with clean hands.
Just hours before Ruto had slammed the brakes on the Adani deals, Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi had defended the group and its deal with Ketraco, despite allegations made by the United States government that the group's chair, Gautam Adani, had paid 30 billion shillings in bribes to the Indian government to obtain solar energy supply contracts.
There has been no case of corruption or bribery insofar as this PIP of Adani Energy Solutions is concerned. Up to now, up to this very moment.
Ruto's about turn has left an egg on the face of the Energy Cabinet Secretary and his transport counterpart. Some MPs are concerned about the rising trend of Ruto throwing his lieutenants under the bus whenever pressure increases.
My colleagues, I want to challenge ourselves that we must not always be waiting for the president to say that this is good, then we all clap and say it is good. The president says this is bad, then we clap and say this is bad. We are going to look like we don't have a head.
The change of tune, however, leaves many wondering about the fate of another deal in the country that Adani is involved. Alongside Safaricom, Adani has been contracted to develop a new healthcare information management system at a cost of 104 billion shillings.
If really they are going to cancel Adani from other contracts, we must also look at the one in health because it is equally, in fact, very, very important.
Kenyans now wait to see whether Ruto will also pronounce himself on that deal between Adani and the Ministry of Health. After months of public outcry in the country over Indian firm Adani, it appears that revelations from the United States that the firm may have allegedly been involved in bribery are the last straw to break the camel's back. And now the government will be going back to the drawing board to issue 2 of its billion shilling deals. David Muthoka, NTV from Parliament Grounds, Nairobi.